This is the A-List Morning Show, the hottest syndicated morning show in the country. We're jamming over 30 years of R&B and hip-hop all morning long. Good Tuesday morning. I keep wanting to say Monday for some reason. Good Tuesday morning to you. I tell you, Aaron with you this morning. Miss Kim, she's out this morning. She'll be back with us tomorrow. Also want to thank all our listeners on Motor City. I'm sorry, not saying Motor City. Yeah, Motor City Woman. They're listening to us this morning. We're syndicated over there this morning, so thank you for their 100,000 listeners. Also, A-List Jam listeners, thank you very much. Download our app, A-List Jam Radio. Download it to your mobile phone, to your computer, to your speak and spell, Easy Bake Oven, Light Bright, what else? Mr. Potato Head, Perfection, anything electronic, download it to it, okay? Aaron with you this morning. Our phone number, 248-809-6400. This morning, as you know, we are reaching over 400,000 strong across the world, and we like to really give a chance to small businesses, authors, and people that are making a difference in people's lives. This morning in the studio, we have an individual who is making a difference and who has made a difference throughout the year in his career, but is now taking it to a whole nother level. Ringo with his brand new book this morning, Airman to CEO. First of all, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show. I tell you, man, been a long time seeing you up close and personal, man.
It's great to see you.
You're like you singing Levert, but that's all right. But that's all right.
You know, I get that a lot.
I would say, he ain't no Casanova. We just cooling this morning. All right.
Cool.
First of all, once again, good morning.
Good morning.
Got a chance to get into some of the excerpts from the book, and I've been watching some of the reviews, and what people are saying about this book. Now, at first I thought you put a lucky $100 bill somewhere in there for people to buy the book, but it's coming off the shelves on Amazon. What is up with this book, Airman to CEO?
Well, Airman to CEO, from the boiler room to the boardroom, I think is a story that resonates with a lot of individuals, regardless of where they're in their career. And we named it, from the boiler room to the boardroom because it talks about a journey from one destination to another. Drake had a song a few years ago, Started from the Bottom, Now I'm Here. Similar theme. I started in the boiler room, which when you look at movies and things of that nature, the boiler room is always in the bottom, the basement. It's always in a place where it's a lot of chaos going on, and the boardroom represents where a lot of people would like to see themselves and achieving their goals.
Now that's interesting because, when people think of dreams, and you're talking about from the bottom to the top, okay, we're making reference to Drake, and we're making reference to a lot of artists and individuals that give you that motivational phrase, it's easy to start at the bottom, there's nowhere up but to the top and all that. Tell us the struggle that you had, because this is not that made-for-TV movie.
No.
You really made some changes in your life. Tell us some of
sacrifices.
Tell me something about the sacrifices and changes you had to make.
A lot of sacrifices, a lot of failures. I'll tell you what, one of the large sacrifices was, number one, was quitting my job. Quitting a job that I was very comfortable in, a job that took care of myself and my family, and made the decision to quit to pursue law school full time. But there was a journey to even get to law school that's covered in the book. And so when you talk about how do you make these sacrifices, is one, how do you approach changing your life? And there's certain steps that everyone has to do if you want to have permanent and meaningful change in your life. And that's the thing that it stops a lot of people when they come up to that crossroads in their life. And then some people go a little further, and it's how do you prepare for that change once you've made the decision to change? And then once you've made the change, how do you train for the next steps? Okay, and once you train for the next steps, how do you apply what you've learned? And then all the things that go into that journey. How do you deal with life as it comes to you? Because you're not exempt, because you decide to change your life today. You're not exempt from divorce. You're not exempt from death. You're not exempt from disease. You're not exempt from failures. How do you bounce back? How do you overcome? How do you make it as part of your journey? And more so focus on the journey rather than the destination. And that's where your real success, at least that's where my success has come from.
And it's interesting you bring that up. Once again, just remind the audience, we have Ringo in here. He has a brand new book out, Airman the CEO. It's pretty much a great, I hate to say rags to riches.
No.
Yeah. I don't want to say, because you're still making your riches.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's a point of where it talks about how you're just like everyone else.
Just like everyone else.
And this is what the book, I guess that's a good way of putting it. The book is just like everyone else, and that's why you should get this book.
Exactly.
Because it's not over your head. It's right there where you can, at eye level, so you can understand it.
I think that's a great point, that this is not a made-for-TV movie. This is not Tiger coming back and winning the Masters in 2000 after, this is just how do you deal with your daily grind and how do you change your life from where you are if you are truly not happy. And this book, it will speak to many people maybe beginning their journey. I speak to people in high school a lot. I speak to young college students. I'm doing a commencement speech at Wayne State University next month for those adult students that are looking to, progress in their academic careers. Because when I went back to school for my bachelor's degree, I was in my 30s. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't this traditional student. I didn't have a traditional path.
Right.
I was actually in the boiler room, working in the boiler room when I decided that this was not going to be my end-all story for me.
Wow. You touched on something there, and I want to bring this up because I know we talked about how the book even touched on this, how individuals need to take control and not have regrets. And I want you to expand on that because people talk about this, I wish I would have did that 20 years ago. Talk about why they shouldn't have regrets and why they should react now.
Because you will have regrets, and regrets is the thing that builds the greatest amount of resentment in individuals. It's very difficult to live with regret. Number one, because you can't go back and change the past. No one can. Mm-hmm. And resentment because you feel like you've disrespected not only yourself, but possibly those around you that may have supported you. So when you see an individual who may be bitter about life, a lot of it is rooted in, number one, in resentment and regret. And that's a fear of mine, is to get to a certain stage in life that I hope to live and have a lot of regret. Now, I've had a lot of failure, a lot of successes, but I have very little regrets. And the regrets that I may have, I'm able to live with because I was able to then take control of my life. I made the decision to go after the things that I really wanted to see, win or lose. And I was okay as long as I tried.
The time frame when you got out of the boiler room, out of the basement, as you want to call it, the bottom, how long did it take you to get to that CEO status? Because, and it just from me knowing you, it sounded like it didn't take long.
That's why I wrote the book, because I left the Detroit Public Schools. I was a building engineer. Mm-hmm. In December 8th, 2008 is when I never forget, I emailed that letter to HR that I resigned. And I started Ringo Services as CEO in 2016, so that's 8 years. But during that time, from being in the boiler room as a maintenance engineer, building engineer, I had positions all the way through, so it was a sort of a meteoric rise. But when you look at vice president of operations, senior vice president, chief operating officer, and to eventually becoming CEO, and every position before that was 8 years.
What are your biggest challenges as a CEO? Because, people always talk about, if I was in charge, I would be doing this. And if I was in charge, I would do that. And then when they get the opportunity, they hate it. Or they can't make it happen. What are some of your biggest challenges as a CEO?
The biggest challenge, I think, of any CEO is identifying opportunity and talent. No one can do anything great alone. I have a mantra: hard work and dedication, prayers, belief, and a good team. Good team. As a CEO, your job is to identify the opportunities and the talented people that can help you achieve those. And to talk about the regret, or people feel like, I want to be an entrepreneur, or I don't want to work at this particular job. I always tell people, you work for yourself now. Your name is the only name on the paycheck that you go to work for. Mm-hmm. I've always envisioned myself as working for myself. I've always thought that I was in control of my work product. And that is the signature that people will know me by. So regardless if I'm working for a particular person, even as a CEO of a company, you have customers. Those are your bosses.
Right.
Trust me, they can fire you by taking their business elsewhere. So
yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, because as much as people work that 40-hour-a-week job, there's lots of people that are afraid to take that next step. In your book, you're making reference to that. Don't be afraid to take that next step. Be afraid of not taking that next step.
Exactly.
It's probably the best way to be framed.
Exactly. And plan. Just don't go in there and slap your boss this morning and quit your job today and just say, well, Dan, Ringo told me to do this.
Right.
No, you have to plan. You have to prepare. But you will never be prepared for the actual jump. And you will land. And I tell people, you have survived everything you've lived through up to this day.
Right.
You will make it if you work hard.
And I like the way you put that, because you're going to fall.
Yes, absolutely.
If you take that first step.
Absolutely.
I guess one businessman even made it this way. It's like a baby. babies fall, they get right back up.
That's
They
correct.
start taking the next step, they get
Exactly.
2, 3, 5, they stop falling down.
Exactly.
So, okay, so this book, once again, we're running close to the top of the hour on this. Now, how can they get this book? Because I keep seeing all on Facebook and Instagram, people walking around with this book underneath their arm, they cheesing with it, taking selfies with the book.
It's been a blessing.
It was just a great cover, yeah, and it's a great book. How can they get this book? Where can they get this book? And then let's get them all the details right now.
They can go to Amazon.com, type in Airman